Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So it's been quite a long time and hopefully the audio is alright because it's very echoey in here. Yeah, so over the past couple months everything for me has been very eye-opening. As usual, we're always going through transformations. We're always expanding and deepening into our truth, which is our authentic self, and doing what it is our heart so desires to, right? And I really want to start sharing again and start expressing how effortless life truly can be. And I don't just mean effortless as in like we can do things without challenges, but in the sense of pure existence, infinity, and what that feels like in our bodies. Like, what does that feel like to have that sense of expansion, that sense of thyself flowing through the body, the sense of God, the sense of love, all of these things. Like, because we don't want to suffer, right? We're always trying to find the balance of, find that alignment, that connection within ourselves that doesn't feel like we're trudging through mud, that feels like, more so we're swimming in a current of a river, and there may be rocks, or there may be, some challenges and things we have to get through, some weeds, some, twisting currents, but nonetheless, we're being guided down that river. And that's what we're all trying to attain and get to and unlock and realize, right? At least if you're watching this video, I assume you are. So, what does that feel like? How can we get there is always the question. How can we maintain that balance, that stability, that so grand, expansive connection, yet also the groundedness in our humanity? Because we know everything's energy. We know we're not these suits. We know that this is all a dream. Whether we're lucid or asleep within the dream, doesn't matter. But we also have emotions. We also have human, urges and behaviors and things. And also things we've been conditioned to believe. So how can we get back to that sense of childlike wonder, that vision you had when you were younger? It's not that you're doing anything wrong and that you have to get to it and find it, but allow it. Yeah? So allowing, we get a sense a lot of times of allowing and surrender, same thing, right? A lot of times when it comes to, our mind thinks of allowing and surrender and letting go, there's this sense of fear, whether we recognize it or not, that we are abandoning ourselves or abandoning our truth or pretty much dying in some sort, because we think we always have to take a stand, and we have to fight, and we have to push, and we have to, be right, and or maybe above. Maybe there's a certain part of us that thinks we're lower than everyone, so we have to try to be above or right. So there's this fear, there's this small stream of fear that runs through us, that is creating this suffering. And when we acknowledge that we're doing nothing wrong, that we don't need to seek it, we don't need to find it, we don't need to heal it, but in becoming aware that you're not allowing, maybe, you're not allowing what is arising for you or arising within someone else. Let's say you're talking with someone, you have a relationship, or there's just, you're talking with a coworker and something arises and they say something you don't agree with, you do not like, or you're experiencing emotion or thoughts that you do not agree with, you do not like, they're kind of clouding your vision, clouding your energy, your creativity, whatever it is, or your mood. When we think of allowing these things to happen, it's like this sense of powerlessness. We think, you know what I mean? Like, or weakness. That, because there's this fine line that seems to be between creating and directing and guiding our energy in our life, and also surrendering and allowing and letting go. And there's this fine line in between that it's like you kind of ride when you're in this flow state, when you're in this, I don't even like to call it a state, but when you're in alignment with your truth, which is being how you want to be, being how you naturally are, and doing and being what your heart desires and what it wants to do. And when we can find that small gap of a gentle, persistent allowing, you will begin to notice that your life actually clears out, opens up for you to direct it, for it to be guided. It's not like necessarily you're directing it or guiding it. Your heart is, but you're guiding it by your focus. So when it comes to, again, you're talking with a coworker, they say something you don't like, or you're experiencing an emotion or thoughts or stuff that just isn't, it's causing problems, right? It feels like it's causing problems and just making you feel like shit, or making you, no clarity, or you can't, I don't know. Anyways, you get the point. So when these things come up, something we don't like, that gentle, persistent allowing, choosing that versus force and pushing and fighting. When we choose that gentle, persistent allowing and surrender and letting go, that gentleness actually becomes such a potent, powerful force of love, whether it's you're dealing with a relationship with someone out here, or you're dealing with yourself. It becomes such a powerful force of love that it penetrates everything in your reality. It doesn't matter about anyone else's realities, what they're going through, what the hell, anything that is out there. Just what you're experiencing. Because when you can have that centeredness of knowing that gentleness, that surrender, that allowing is actually going to bring power, is actually going to bring about change within yourself and seemingly outside of you, you're actually able to relax and breathe and trust, because that surrender, allowing, letting go is understanding, like, okay, if I woke up today, it's that knowing, if I woke up today, I'm gonna make it through today. It's that trust that you're always going to be taken care of. You're always going to be guided to exactly where you need to go. But that trust and everything comes from that calmness, that centered, that place of... Because allowing and letting go and surrender is all just deep relaxation. It's all just deep acceptance. But a lot of people can get that, and I've gone through the same thing, get that confused with like I said, it's like weakness or not taking a stand or not taking action. So, and that's what I'm talking about again, that fine line in between the two. Because when you choose that allowing, so much space and everything opens up in front of you where you can actually see, let's say you're talking with that coworker, you don't like what they said, you can actually see them, where they're coming from, and not choose to fight it out of wanting to be right or above or just frustration. But you can actually have fun with it. You can actually play with it. You can relax. And that relaxed, calm nervous system is where the magic comes from. And it's not that, let's say you're stressed out, you've been stressed out for a long time, or panicking, or depressed, or anything, or frustrated. It doesn't mean you can't automatically switch that at any moment in time. It doesn't have to take months, or weeks, months, or years. It can literally be in an instant. It's all with your focus. And changing the channel, changing your focus. What is that saying? I think I've heard before, your breath is the light and your focus is the driver, or something like that. There's so many sayings out there like that, but yeah. Another thing I wanted to say, I was writing earlier in my journal, and it came to me, and I really, really like this, because I don't think I've ever really heard this before. Maybe I haven't worded different ways, but I wrote it down, and it said, I gotta look at my notes, I don't remember. I have it written down in here. Something along the lines of, one dies in another, only to be born again within the self. With a capital S. So, and this is what I'm talking about with like someone else, or your parents, or your friend, or your partner, or a coworker, any type of relationship or frustration outside of you that you disagree with, or something is bothering you. And that's where that comes in. One dies in another, only to be born again in the self. And that is pretty much speaking of the ego. And I don't like the word ego. It is really makes it seem separate. Like we have our ego and then higher consciousness. It's really all one embedded thing, right? Two sides of the same coin. But when one dies in another, it's pretty much surrendering, allowing and letting go this tight grip you have on being right, or being above, or even just not wanting to hear anything opposing because it makes something rise up inside of you. And that's not a bad thing. None of this is a bad thing. Do as you please. I'm giving guidance to and just reflections on what I've noticed and what helps me, because there's a lot of times where it's like your ego, that sense of wanting to be right or above, or validate or heard. When you can really sit there and let all that go and just listen to what another person says without feeling like you have to fight, pick up your sword and attack in some way, even if it's subtle, you're essentially dying in another, only to be born again in the self, which is like, wow, a realization of, if I slow down and just listen without an attachment or a need, you start to listen to yourself more. You start to relax within yourself more. You start to realize that, okay, this isn't a fight or flight. It's really that response is being triggered all the time, especially in this day and age, with so much going on, so much distraction, stimulation, craziness. when you allow with that persistent gentleness and an open heart, it allows you to see yourself in another. And when you can see yourself in another, that's not the goal though, because it will naturally happen. But when you can see yourself in another and allow that space for you to see them, just plain and simply, that connection arises. I wrote something else down here earlier. Because that connection is how we expand into our own infinite existence. And when we expand, others expand. And when we let others expand, we expand. So this isn't about not speaking. This isn't about not sharing or expressing, but allowing. Allowing yourself to be seen and heard. And it's not about the goal of being or the need to be seen or heard. Because again, that is arising from some sort of fear that you don't belong, that you don't fit in, that you're not allowed. I think that's all I have to say. The main point of expressing and sharing is for the experience and the feeling within yourself of doing that. Because you don't know how it's touching people. And yes, that's the biggest point. That's the biggest thing to take from sharing and expressing is the experience. You're always touching someone, like through that energy, through that whatever you're sharing, experiencing, even whether they're conscious of it or not, whether you're conscious of it or not, there's always an energy exchange being made in little tiny seeds planted and crack open. All the time. Maybe it's not about the person you're interacting with, but the person they interact with after. You know what I mean? Like, because it feels good. Keep doing it. Keep doing you. Keep bringing that clarity in that space. And stay aware of where your focus is going. Stay aware of how you walk, how you do things. Do you like doing it that way? Do you like all the little habits you have? And if you don't, that's okay, that's beautiful. Be gentle with yourself. Don't apply force and hard pressure and, don't fight it. Allow it to be there, have understanding, create the space and the clarity around it. It shows up when you focus on allowing. And changing, that doesn't mean keeping your focus on something shitty, something that bothered you or something that is bothering you. It means moving it to something that isn't, something that you love. Focus on what feels good always. And that cracks your heart open into more allowing, more love, more of a beautiful life filled with magic, emanating everywhere. Infinity. I hope you guys are doing so well. I love you all so dearly. You're already doing everything perfectly. It's in becoming aware of that. Always being guided to the perfect place at the perfect time, doing the perfect things, realizing, seeing, hearing, saying everything perfectly. And the more you can trust that and allow that, and allow yourself the grace, which is power, the more everything becomes effortless. I will talk to you guys very soon. I wanted to show you guys the weather out here right now. It's so beautiful. Maybe you won't be able to see, but it's all snowy. So beautiful. Alright, I love you guys so much. See you in the next one.